to Houghton Park on this kind of not rainy Saturday morning. Thank you all for being here. My name is Meredith Reynolds, and I'm the Park Development Officer for the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Marine. Today, I want to welcome you to the groundbreaking for the new Houghton Park Community Center building. Many of you started this journey with us, imagining Houghton, which resulted in a 2015 master plan for Houghton Park with a new community center building as its cornerstone. And you've continued to be engaged in the process of designing Houghton Park's new community center building to reflect the beacon you've dreamed it could be for your community. I see many of you here from those efforts. Thank you for being here. Now I'd like to turn it over to a few speakers. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Vice Mayor Rex Richardson.
All right, folks. The sun came out. How many people thought that this was going to get canceled due to the rain? Was I the only one? All right, but we're here, right? The sun came out. I think we can thank Steve Neal and his prayers for this. Let's give it up to Steve. Hey, this has been a long time coming, right? And I'm going to deviate from my remarks for a minute and just just talk about this moment that we're in. So if you think about it, in 2013, we opened Fire Station 12, the largest, most modern fire station in our entire city. Through redevelopment was built right here in District 9. Then in 2016, we opened the Michelle Obama Neighborhood Library, the largest, most modern library in our city, right here in District 9. And then today, 2018, and to open in 2019, we have the new Houghton Park Community Center, which will be the only community center project that's currently under construction through the Measure A process. It's the only community center we're actually working on as a city, again, right here in District 9. So if you think about it, on the city side, this really represents a moment in history that folks are going to look back on and say the city took North Long Beach seriously and made these investments in our community. So it's about time, and we're really excited to have today. So all of you who played a part in this, I say thank you. Let's give yourselves a round of applause. I want to acknowledge, if you're a North Long Beach resident, North Long Beach supporter, raise your hand, make some noise. I see a lot of you here. I see folks from our neighborhood associations, Houghton Park, Hamilton. I see folks here from our libraries. Give it up for the Michelle Obama Neighborhood Library folks. People have really followed this project. Give it up for Measure A, Desiree, another North Long Beach resident who's leading these Measure A projects. I gotta tell you, this project was not easy to do. The funding started. Let's give it up to Steve Neal, my predecessor, who started this conversation. The first $3 million of funding came through Steve Neal and Bob Foster early on, right? And then we picked it up. We designed this project. We did the Houghton Park Master Plan. We went ahead and identified the additional $5 million to make this project happen. That wouldn't have been possible without our Public Works Director, Craig Beck. Let's give it up for Craig Beck. And so now I'll get back on message a little bit. So this community center was originally built in around 1930. It started, the permits were pulled in the 1920s, right? And this is the original structure that stands behind us. Now this, you can see it's sort of rancho style, right? The architecture, Spanish style architecture. A lot of the original spaces were sort of concreted out over the years. We still use this facility today as our after school program and other programs. And then over the years, so again in 1959, some of these structures were built, and again in 1987 it was expanded as well. And so what it hasn't done has been redesigned to really address the needs of a large growing community. A fifth of the city's population lives right here in North Long Beach, north of Del Amo, 90805. And this is the only regional park, and regional park means you have senior programming here, you have teen programming here that doesn't exist at neighborhood serving parks. So it's really important to this community. And so many people refer to this as the heart of the 9th District, heart of Uptown. A lot of people can remember going to parties here when they were in high school. A lot of people remember, I think Councilman Neal, didn't you do your wedding reception in Houghton Park? So this has been that facility for so many people. And so today we're breaking ground on a new building right here where we're standing, which will be the new focal point, the new entryway to the center. We're also going to be demolishing some of the old facility, not the original, but some of the old stuff that's falling apart. When we complete this next year, then we're going to be laser focused on subsequent phases, which is to completely restore this historic landmark here behind us, and to finally move forward on an actual gym. Now, we don't have the funding for this, but we're going to put an actual gym basketball, sports, gym, auditorium right here in North Long Beach, sort of on that side of the project. So, you know, this community center incorporates the vision of, you know, multiple outreach sessions through the Houghton Park master planning process, the Northtown open space master planning process, and the design process for this facility. It incorporates that vision, instills a pride. It sort of sets a new standard for architecture. It complements the Michelle Obama Library. We're very proud that this would not have been possible if it hadn't been for the support of the voters in Measure A. So thank you for your support of Measure A, because $4 million of Measure A, $4.5 million of Measure A funding went to help support this project. So I want to say thank you to the constituents and the supporters of Measure A for that. I also want to finally just thank, where's Meredith? There she is back there. So Meredith has worked on this project since day one. And she's understood the challenges and how we had to sort of go through the process and figure out where and how and when. But you've gotten us here, Meredith, so thank you. Let's hear it for Meredith and the whole Parks and Rec staff. Marie, Steve, our interim director. Steve's been at the table this entire time. So thank you, Steve. And you know, we have to acknowledge our former Parks and Rec, Marie Knight, as well. I mean, Marie was a big supporter of this. She's no longer with the city, but I would be remiss without acknowledging her. So we're really excited about this, and we're going to open it up in about a year. But today is really about sort of acknowledging this is a real project, and we're starting on this project today. So I want to, at this point, welcome up my friend. So many people may not know, but we are in the 63rd Assembly District. And we're fortunate to be represented by our assembly member, who's also happens to be the Speaker of the State Assembly. And he's made time. I remember we first had our first conversation taking office. We talked about this project, and I'm really honored that he's been a champion and supporter of this project since day one, and that he is here today. So without further ado, I want to introduce Speaker Anthony Rendon.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that. Thank you. Who doesn't know we're in the 63rd Assembly District? Everybody ought to know that. I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to thank the Vice Mayor for talking about history, because that's really what today is about, and that's really what his term in office has been about. If you think about the family history, the extent to which this is important to people like Steve Neal and others, if you think about the neighborhood history, you think about the extent to which this park and the facilities have been important to this neighborhood. This is a park whose history precedes our entrance into the Union as a state. So this is an important piece of California history. And I think what's exciting for me about this building, when you look at the renderings, is the way that some of the older elements are going to be incorporated into the newer elements. And that's really, for me, what North Long Beach and the 63rd District and this point in its history is really about. It's about honoring the past. It's about honoring the contributions of those who came before us, but adding to them, and making sure that this part of North Long Beach takes on a new life and becomes something for the next generation that honors the past, but that also is going to be contemporary and exciting. So when you talk about things like the Michelle Obama Library, when you talk about what this is going to be, you talk about all the development that the Vice Mayor has been responsible for, and residents like all of you here. If you think about all of those efforts, it's really what this project is about. It's about taking the old and incorporating it with the new and moving forward. But I would be remiss if I didn't thank the voters. It's their efforts in passing Measure A that have helped to make this possible, and will help to make so many other things possible. So thank you, and I'm excited about using this facility in the future. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Speaker. So next up, we're going to hear from Craig Beck, our Public Works Director. Craig.
Well, thank you, Vice Mayor. What a fantastic opportunity to be up here today in Uptown, celebrating the start of a brand new community center. So we're going to be building a 6,500 square foot community center that's really going to help activate areas for this community. And as the Vice Mayor said, this is an important milestone, but only a start, that we look forward to not only completing this part of the project, but refurbishing the historic building behind us and building further elements in the park. You'll notice a picture in front of the podium here. It was a real challenge that the architect team had to do, which is design a building that stood by itself, that was a new building and represented the future, but also respected the architecture of the existing facilities here. And I think that RADA Architects really did a fantastic job in doing that, where we have roof lines that are very complementary to each other, and the layout of the buildings are just going to be fantastic. So not only will we have the center itself, but the layout of the new center will create about a 4,000 square foot enclosed courtyard. So we all live in Southern California. We have wonderful weather here. How nice to have an opportunity to not only have activities inside a building, but easily flow outside into a courtyard and then enjoy the facilities. So on behalf of the Public Works team and in partnership with Parks, Rec, and Marine, we're really excited to be here and celebrate this start to a fantastic construction project. Hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Craig. Next we have Stephen Scott, Interim Director of Parks and Recreation. Coming up, Steve.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and thank you for everybody for being here this morning. The Department of Parks, Recreation, and Marine is really excited to be joining all of you this morning, this really important milestone for the continuing development of Houghton Park. A number of you may have been here a few years ago when we embarked on an effort to really imagine a new park community center, but also to create a vision for the entire 26-acre property here. And since that time, we've been able to take a lot of significant steps forward. We've added fitness equipment. We've added hydration stations. We have a new Veterans Valor Plaza. All things that were envisioned as part of that community process. But we're here today for the groundbreaking of the new 6,500 square foot community center building. And we are really excited about that in Parks and Rec. It's going to offer us a number of different opportunities. 2 large multi-purpose rooms that we're going to be able to divide and scale in size based on our programming needs. And as the Vice Mayor mentioned earlier, this is a regional community center, a very significant hub of our programming in Parks, Rec, and Marine. We serve youth, teens, and seniors, and this new facility is really going to help us take that step to better serve the community. So once again, we are very excited to be here. Thank you all for being here, and we look forward to seeing you next time with the grand opening.
Thank you, Steve, for reminding us of that whole master planning process that we went through. And the youth really played a big role in that master planning process. And so I want to acknowledge and bring up our school board member. And I have to tell you, the school district is doing just as much investment as the city is. Right next door, Jordan High School, and I won't steal some of your points, but they're doing a lot of good stuff. Okay, I won't take your points. Come on up, Megan. Come on up, Megan. Let's give it up for Megan Kerr, our school board member.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure to be with you on a beautiful morning. I was just telling the speaker that complimenting all this extraordinary work that the city is doing and the investment the city is making into this park, the school district, thanks to the voters as well, is doing a tremendous amount of work at Jordan High School. And so part of that master renovation is a brand new outdoor pool that will be, all of our comprehensive high schools receive outdoor pools that will be adjacent right here by the tennis courts that will have public access in the summer. We'll have swim opportunities and safety opportunities for our North Long Beach families. So it really is about equity. So as we serve families and seniors in the park, really having a partnership to offer those similar programs for our community members during the summer on our school facilities as well. So as always, it's a fabulous partnership between the school district and the city. We are grateful to voters for helping us fund such spectacular renovations and innovations in our city to meet the needs of our growing youth community. So it's great to be here. Thank you.
All right, so who's ready to break ground? You guys ready to break ground? Wake up. You guys ready? Turn it over at once. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Let's do a couple more, guys. Let's do a couple more.